The National Desk, America's News, now.
Welcome to the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Kel Thompson, in for Eugene Ramirez tonight. We have a look at the big headlines of the week and a look at what's ahead next. 4 big stories we're following for you. The president pushing lawmakers to suspend the federal gas tax to ease high prices at the pump. Thousands of flights canceled. More delayed as airlines deal with staffing shortages. The gun reform debate continuing with emotional testimony on Capitol Hill, and the Supreme Court dealing a victory to Second Amendment advocates across the country. But first, the decision that has rocked the nation. The Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, ending abortion rights at the federal level, meaning access to abortion will now be determined state by state. The 5-4 decision along ideological lines has sparked both massive backlash and celebration across the country. Protests and rallies started minutes after the decision's release Friday. President Biden calling it a sad day for the court and for the country, while Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell called the decision courageous and correct. In his majority opinion, Justice Samuel Alito writing in part, Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. The court's decision to overturn the landmark abortion ruling causing a ripple effect through the U.S. The National Desk's Atra El-Nashar has a closer look at the legal implications of this court opinion and where steps are already being taken to change abortion laws.
A majority of the Supreme Court ending half a century of precedent under Roe v. Wade. In their opinion, Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett rule the Constitution makes no express reference to a right to obtain an abortion.
They argued that the right to an abortion is not deeply rooted in the nation's history and traditions, and therefore it's not a constitutional right.
A criteria law professor Paul Collins at University of Massachusetts Amherst says has no precise definition. Chief Justice Roberts writes a concurring opinion he agrees with upholding Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban, but would not have overturned Roe. The majority opinion says other rights like right to privacy, contraception, same-sex marriage are not directly affected by the court's opinion. Justice Clarence Thomas, in his concurring opinion, says they should all be reconsidered.
I think it's safe to say that those rights are under threat despite the language in the majority opinion.
Justice Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan signing on to the dissenting opinion, one Collins describes as scathing.
Ultimately, they conclude that this is really a raw exercise of political power by a conservative court that is going to take away women's reproductive autonomy, making them less than full citizens.
As access to abortion is now left in the purview of states, a lot of women and girls are wondering what it means for them. Sky, you're from Virginia. Do you worry about losing access to reproductive care?
Of course, all the time.
Others celebrating.
We're overwhelmed with happiness. We're so excited for it to go down to the states.
Now that Roe is overturned, abortion bans in 13 states with trigger laws immediately going into effect. Another 13 are expected to follow. But enforcing those laws likely won't look the same everywhere and may even be difficult. More than half the country entering a new normal, one that existed before Roe v. Wade. At the Supreme Court, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Another big headline from the Supreme Court, justices handing down that historic 6-3 ruling striking down one of the nation's strictest gun laws. A century-old law in New York required people applying for a concealed carry permit to prove proper cause for needing a firearm outside their home. The ruling is the High Court's biggest expansion of gun rights in more than a decade. In the majority opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the law violated the 14th Amendment to equal protection by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their Second Amendment right to bear arms. Justice Stephen Breyer wrote the dissenting opinion, pointing out the recent mass shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde. He said the ruling, quote, severely burdened states' efforts to address rising gun violence. The country has already seen 280 mass shootings this year. The ruling is expected to impact similar laws in several states, including California, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, and New Jersey, as well as Washington, D.C.
Those laws are certainly impacted by this decision. The 7 states, or the 6 in the district, those, I think the court made it very clear. This decision creates open season on gun safety laws.
The decision sparking outrage among Democratic leaders across the country. It comes as Buffalo is healing from a racially motivated mass shooting that killed 10 people. Governor Kathy Hochul, a Democrat, calling the decision outrageous. The National Desk's Amanda Hull looks at the governor's next steps and the group calling this case a win for freedom.
The Supreme Court's ruling on New York's gun law, on the books for more than 100 years, is considered the widest expansion of gun rights in a decade.
This decision isn't just reckless, it's reprehensible. It's not what New Yorkers want.
Governor Kathy Hochul said her office is reviewing its options to try to keep New Yorkers safe, like calling back lawmakers into session and looking at passing gun carrying restrictions.
The federal government will not have sweeping laws to protect us. Then our states and our governors have a moral responsibility to do what we can and have laws that protect our citizens.
The New York Rifle and Pistol Association brought the lawsuit, arguing New York's rule that required people to show proper cause to get a concealed carry license was unconstitutional. The Supreme Court agreed. Tom King is the group's executive director and calls the decision a victory and used Governor Kathy Hochul's exact words right back at her.
I find it reprehensible that an elected official who is sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States is going to try to circumvent a decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. That says an awful lot about her character.
New York Attorney General Letitia James says she will not let this decision deter her office for fighting for families to protect them from gun violence in New York State. Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Jersey all have similar laws on the books that will now likely be challenged because of this. Reporting in New York, I'm Amanda Hull.
On Capitol Hill, the House passing a bipartisan bill to address gun violence on Friday. It's the first major federal gun safety legislation in decades. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act previously cleared the Senate Thursday. It now heads to President Biden for his signature. The bill invests hundreds of millions of dollars in mental health and school safety resources, provides money for states to enact red flag laws which allow courts to seize guns from people deemed dangerous, expands background checks for people under 21, and closes what many call the boyfriend loophole, preventing partners convicted of domestic abuse that live outside a victim's home from buying a gun. Former President Trump blasting the bill, calling it the, quote, first step in the movement to take your guns away. Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell disagreeing with that point.
We're considering a bipartisan bill that will make our country safer without making it any less free. This is the sweet spot, Madam President, making America safer, especially for kids in school, without making our country one bit less free.
There are new details on that mass shooting that fueled the calls for gun control across the country. The chief of police for the Uvalde School District is now on administrative leave. Peter Arredondo is at the center of controversy over how the police responded. The Uvalde school superintendent says he will not make a final decision, though, on the chief until all investigations are complete. Now to the fight against rising prices. The president officially pushing Congress to suspend the federal gas tax. If that happens, it would slash the cost by about 18 cents per gallon. But some are opposed to the president's plan. A gas tax holiday would mean less money for infrastructure projects across the country. By some estimates, $6 billion in lost revenue.
We have a supply problem that needs to be dealt with if you want to get prices down, so it doesn't deal with the problem.
I'm willing to embrace his proposals for a gas tax holiday. I don't know whether we'll get the votes it needs here in the Senate, but I am talking to my colleagues about that.
This breakdown from Gas Buddy shows the estimated savings from a federal gas tax holiday. $66 over 3 months for a pickup truck, down to about $26 for a compact car. Several states have already suspended their own gas tax to give drivers some relief, and at least 20 more say they are considering it. State gas taxes range from just under 9 cents a gallon in Alaska to around 57 cents a gallon in Pennsylvania. High gas prices, just one reason many economists see a recession on the horizon. But a new survey shows a majority agree stagflation is a bigger threat to Americans and businesses. The National Desk's Ryan Smith explains what stagflation is and the economic fallout that it could bring.
We keep hearing recession, recession, recession. Now some warn the worst economic outcome is stagflation. That's if this record inflation sticks around. But we also see unemployment rise too, a crippling combination of more people out of work and dealing with higher prices. As recession fears dominate the headlines, some warn the biggest risk to the U.S. economy is something entirely different.
Is stagflation worse than a recession outcome?
As somebody who's actually lived through it, I think it is actually worse because it is incredibly hard to get out of the economy.
According to the Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, 80% of economists surveyed named stagflation a greater long-term risk, the result of labor and input costs like oil and raw materials going up.
We're afraid that people's inflation expectations continue to go up, so they're going to ask for higher wages, which are going to push costs up for employers and get us rolling on that really awful combination of high inflation and growing unemployment.
Investor Ray Dalio warning in an interview with Fortune.com, quote, "There isn't anything that the Fed can do to fight inflation without creating economic weakness. Over the long run, the Fed will most likely chart a middle course that will take the form of stagflation." Meantime, White House officials remain confident nothing is inevitable.
The president really wants to have a steady and stable recovery.
The Fed now raising interest rates to cool inflation, but slow economic growth could lead to an uptick in unemployment.
You're stressed because prices are going up and you're having trouble making ends meet. And then you're doubly stressed by the possibility of losing your job on top of that. It's a terrible situation.
And unemployment has been a bright spot in the U.S. economy. The unemployment rate holding at 3.6% in June. But the big concern here, inflation remains high and that unemployment rate increases. In Washington, Ryan Smith for the National Desk.
Ryan, thank you. 2 American veterans missing in Ukraine, captured by Russia. Still ahead, why Russian officials say they have the right to put these men to death. But first, an industry that saw a pandemic boom now being hit hard by the supply chain bust. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. Catch us live weekday mornings from 6 to 11 and weekday evenings 10 to midnight Eastern. We're also online all the time at thenationaldesk.com. We'll be right back. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Kel Thompson. Our team of nearly 4,000 local journalists bringing you the headlines from coast to coast. From inflation hurting Maine's boating industry to a dispute tearing apart a New York neighborhood, we're taking the pulse of America, and we start with Ohio farmers raising their prices.
It looks like a normal summer day at Monin's fruit farm.
I've talked to a lot of other farms. We're all facing the same issues.
Owner Glenn Monin says the cost of diesel fuel, fertilizer, and spray materials are going way up, impacting their bottom line.
This was last year, $14.95 a bag of fertilizer, and this year it went up to $20.70 a bag. These are 2 essential things I have to have, is spray material and fertilizer. So when both of those go up, then I get to absorb the cost.
They've been forced to raise prices slightly on some of their products. And they've cut their labor costs, limiting their staff to just the family.
Thank you.
They've been able to get all of their crops planted this year, but he knows other farmers aren't as lucky. This is leading to concerns about a possible food shortage.
Despite the temporary shocks which the agriculture industry is facing, it's less likely to be an issue in the U.S. compared to other developing countries.
I don't think we can make any more cuts. If we do have to do anything, we might have to bump prices up a little bit more.
The boating industry is coming to us all the time saying we need more graduates, we need more skilled labor.
The Landing School, a boat building school in Arundel, typically sees 55 students a year. Next year, that will rise to at least 75.
It's a substantial increase. We're very happy about that.
The manpower is not the problem. It's getting the material that is. Over the last 2 years through COVID-19, costs have skyrocketed.
The wooden boats that the wooden boat building program is building started 2 years ago at a cost of $17,500. This year, it's $20,500.
On top of the added costs, supply chain issues are causing delays.
If we can't get the materials on time, the students can't use them on time, it delays the projects, it delays when the work can actually be completed.
This past week, the main boat builder show was canceled.
That's usually a big recruiting tool for us. People come to the show, we exhibit there, and they see what the school can do. Fortunately, the boating industry is pretty small, and we're all helping each other out as much as we can.
Between this great blue wall, the row of yellow slow down men, and the sign out front proclaiming worst neighbor ever.
There's no reason for the theatrics, absolutely not. To be honest with you, as a neighbor, it's embarrassing.
This neighborhood is fed up with the fight going on between these two homes.
Everybody notices it. The tarps, in my opinion, are way excessive.
The sign that says that a neighbor, the worst neighbor in the world lives there, it's funny, but it's not funny.
The years-long feud was reignited about a month ago when the neighbor in the blue house started throwing peanuts to squirrels over the fence. That prompted the neighbor in the yellow house to put up this sign because he says his relative has a peanut allergy. The other neighbor responded by putting up the worst neighbor ever sign. And then came the wall of tarps and those slow down soldiers. The yellow house neighbor claims police have been called here more than 70 times due to the back and forth, which he says included one physical scuffle.
Maybe they should have put up a higher fence.
It's unacceptable, and it needs to stop.
This week's rulings from the Supreme Court will affect Americans from coast to coast. Several states are just beginning to look into how this week's decision on New York's gun law will affect their own laws. Our fact-check team taking a look at which states will have to make a change.
Ahead of the Supreme Court decision, the U.S. Senate announced steps towards legislation to tighten firearm access. I'm back with our fact-check team. Connor, we'll start with you. How will the ruling affect gun laws across the country?
Unlike New York, there are 43 states that issue gun licenses based on objective requirements that are much easier to meet because they don't require applicants to show a special need for armed self-defense. In his decision today, Justice Thomas wrote that, quote, nothing in this analysis suggests those 43 states' laws are unconstitutional. But there's a few other states with laws in the books that are similar to New York's. And since the Supreme Court ruled that New York's law was unconstitutional, those states' laws, they'll probably be invalidated as well.
Oh, Connor, the Senate also has a gun bill of their own right now.
That's right, they do, but this has no implication on that bill because it concerns other gun safety measures like grants for mental health programs and tougher background checks for gun buyers that are under the age of 21.
All right, and Courtney, let's move on to you. The decision comes during a sensitive time in the country just weeks after the two mass shootings in Uvalde and Buffalo.
Yes, Megan. In his dissent, Justice Breyer noted that gun violence has taken an extreme toll on the country, especially over the last year. He said that the decision, quote, severely burdens states' efforts to address the uptick in gun violence. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul echoed his point, saying that it's, quote, outrageous that at a moment of national reckoning on gun violence, the court struck down a law limiting gun access.
All right, Courtney and Connor, thank you both. Our fact-check team will continue to follow developments on these and other issues. You can also read this story with links on where they found their information. It's all on our website. Just go to thenationaldesk.com.
The rise in violent crime now reaching past America's major cities. Coming up, one sheriff shares the increase she's seeing in her small town. Next. Right now, American officials are pushing Russia for more information on 2 U.S. citizens captured in Ukraine. Russian state media reports the Kremlin considers Alex Druki and Andy Wynn mercenaries. Both are from Alabama. Classifying them as mercenaries means they would not qualify for protections under international law and would make them eligible for the death penalty. Our Jan Jeffcoat asked former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis about Russia's claims and what's being done behind the scenes to bring both veterans home.
They are absolutely, along with thousands of other international volunteers, are rolled into the Ukrainian armed forces. They're wearing uniforms. They're required to abide by the rules of the laws of war and of the Ukrainian armed forces. And for that reason, they are absolutely, unequivocally guaranteed the rights of a POW when they are taken. Now, what we have to understand is that there's so many things going on around this. The Russians themselves have many troops that are being put on trial. This is in retaliation for that. Russia is famous for the tit for tat. And I think that what you're going to see is that they're going to use this as leverage to try to get some better deals for some of their troops in the future.
So do we have any idea how they're doing right now, and how would this typically work?
Yeah, ordinarily the Red Cross would have access to them as they do to the prisoners on both sides and of any conflict. But so far, they're being held not by the Russian authorities, but by the Luhansk so-called independent organization or country, their armed forces. And so that's where they're staying out there, which kind of gives Russia a very thin claim of separation, that it's, oh, well, this is the other, they're independent countries handling it, so it's outside of our jurisdiction, which of course is ridiculous. But that's the situation right now. And it's a very serious situation, because I think one of the other reasons why Russia is doing this is because they want to send a signal to any other foreigners who may want to come that says, hey, if you get captured, you'll be executed, and to make them not want to come. And so for that reason, I think there is a possibility that Russia could actually carry through with this.
These men were captured in the Donbass region, where some of the heaviest fighting has been going on, as we know. Do we know what the latest is there? And is the Ukraine army still holding, or have they gone back on the offensive at this point?
Yeah, they most definitely have not gone back on the offensive. As a matter of fact, overnight, there was reports that Russia finally succeeded in crossing the Seversky Donetsk River behind Lysychansk in the Severodonetsk pocket, which is one of the most critical areas for the Ukrainian forces in the northern shoulder of the Donbas fight. You may remember about a month or so ago, Russia had a disastrous failed attempt to try to cross the Seversky Donetsk, and they lost 2 battalion battle groups. Well, now then it appears they have successfully crossed it, have forged a bridgehead, and now then they're able to move more troops behind the Ukrainian forces. And already in the what's called the Zolotoy pocket, which is a small area, there's about 3,000 Ukrainian troops who are now in great risk of being cut off, and more 7,000 to 8,000 more in a different area. And frankly, things are not looking very good for Ukraine in this area.
We also asked what happens if there is no ceasefire and what comes next. You can see the full interview posted right now at thenationaldesk.com. The FDA is officially banning Juul e-cigarettes from the U.S. market. The Food and Drug Administration has been reviewing e-cig companies for nearly 2 years now, weighing the pros and cons of Juul. The company's products are considering a less harmful option for cigarette smokers than traditional cigarettes, but Juul is accused of selling fruity flavors geared towards younger people, getting them hooked on nicotine. Juul is expected to appeal the decision. The FDA is investigating a new report of another child's death after consuming Abbott Laboratories baby formula. The FDA reports it received a consumer complaint this month about the baby's death in January. An Abbott spokesperson says there is no evidence to suggest a causal relationship between Abbott's formulas and this new case. Abbott has been under a lot of criticism for its safety standards and accusations in the deaths of several other babies. 5 major cities across America set to break homicide records this year amid a rise in violent crime. Coming up, we ask an expert what's causing the surge and what are the best steps forward. You're watching The National Desk, America's News Now. Taking a look at the top trending stories on our website right now. A 5-year-old Texas boy has died after being left in a hot car for hours as his mother prepared for a birthday party. No word yet if she'll face charges. The FDA has officially banned Juul e-cigarettes from store shelves, citing fruity flavors geared toward teens, getting them hooked on nicotine. Juul is expected to appeal the decision. And a Massachusetts mom celebrating a 1 in a million pregnancy after discovering she's expecting not one, but 2 sets of twins. You can find those stories and more right now on thenationaldesk.com. Looking ahead to a few big stories we're following next week. President Biden traveling to the NATO summit on Monday in Madrid. Topics will include new countries seeking to join NATO amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine, including Finland, Sweden, and Ukraine itself. New York Governor Kathy Hochul on the ballot once again as New Yorkers cast their votes in primary elections on Tuesday. Voting also open in Colorado, Illinois, Oklahoma, Utah, Nebraska, Mississippi, and South Carolina. Accused school shooter Nicholas Cruz getting his day in court 4 years after the tragedy in Parkland, Florida. Opening statements in his death penalty trial scheduled to start Wednesday, July 6th. Rising prices getting so bad they are bringing seniors out of retirement. In our next half hour, the one big expense driving retirees back into the job market. You're watching The National Desk, America's News Now. Catch us live weekday mornings from 6 to 11 and again from 10 to midnight Eastern. Away from your TV, we're always online at thenationaldesk.com. We'll be right back.
The National Desk, America's News Now.
Taking a look now at our top stories, the Supreme Court striking down a law in New York State requiring you provide a valid reason why you need a concealed carry permit. The move considered by many to be the biggest expansion of gun rights in decades. The school police chief in Uvalde, Texas, now on leave as the investigation into the shooting at Robb Elementary School continues. And the president proposing a 90-day federal gas tax holiday as prices climb higher ahead of the July 4th weekend. Suspending the federal gas tax would save drivers just over 18 cents a gallon. Right now in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the sheriff's department mourning the death of a deputy killed in the line of duty. 25-year-old Austin Aldridge was ambushed as he responded to a domestic violence call this week, shot while approaching the home by himself. Deputies tracked down the suspect, exchanging gunfire with him before taking him into custody. Small towns across the country are seeing violent crime rise, mirroring numbers already spiking in major cities. The CDC reports rural areas saw a 25% spike in homicides in 2020. The small communities face some of the same issues as larger cities, like low tax bases and increased drug use during the pandemic. And shrinking police forces are being overwhelmed.
This whole mentality of y'all are the cops, figure it out. I'm not telling you anything. And we've lost a lot of community cohesiveness, whereas neighbors looked out for each other. That's no longer the norm.
At the same time, residents in one major city are taking their safety concerns to court. Their mayor and city council are being sued to hire more police. National Desk Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman explains why lawmakers nationwide are being called on to act.
Crime on the streets of Minneapolis, the city once at the heart of the defund police movement, now the setting for what could be a landmark ruling. The state's Supreme Court saying the mayor has to hire more cops or prove why he can't. Citizens fed up with recent spikes in violence proved in court based on population. The city charter mandates at least 731 police officers, but critics say they're short by roughly 100.
It's significant because our clients have been facing, as they rightly call it, a hail of bullets ripping through their neighborhood. This sends a message that no one is above the law. The city council and the mayor need to make sure that there's enough money in the budget.
There used to be one pop here, two pops there. Now it is routinely, every night, pop, 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 pop.
The complaint not unique to Minneapolis, where we traveled to examine the crisis on full measure. At the end of 2021, Baltimore had more than 200 budgeted police positions open. From Syracuse to Seattle, cities fearing out-of-control crime now complaining there aren't enough well-trained cops. In Portland, Oregon, staff-strapped police have had to prioritize 911 calls, some waiting hours. The question: should Washington do more to help fill the ranks? And what resources can lawmakers here on Capitol Hill offer?
Maybe grants, increasing the amount of grants and the amount of hiring funds that's available, allowing agency to use those dollars for things like hiring bonuses. Retention bonuses might be a better idea.
I do hope that we're going to be taking positive steps to make it more possible for state and local law enforcement to do a better job at recruitment and retention.
That as other cities look to Minneapolis and consider if they can or should follow suit. In Washington, Scott Thuman for the National Desk.
People across America also looking for solutions to violent crime at home. How do you pinpoint what is causing the surge, and ultimately, how do you fix it? Our Megan O'Halloran asked former CIA officer Mike Baker to weigh in.
Well, I think part of it has been cumulative, and it's developed over a period of time. So it's not just something that's breaking with the onset of summer. I think what we've been looking at in part is sort of a decay in the concept of actions have consequences. So over the past few years, as sort of progressive policies have taken hold with DA's offices around the country, particularly in the major urban centers, and efforts have been done for bail reform and no bail, and I think what's happened is people have cottoned on to the idea that perhaps there isn't a rule of law in this country as we used to think of it. And I think that in part is it. Part of it may well be, and this, I'm no sociologist, but part of it may also be coming out of the pandemic. There may be something to the fact that people have forgotten how to be social, how to be somewhat civil to each other.
What do you think about this? Of course, we're seeing crime go up in bigger cities, but small towns seeing it as well. New data out from the CDC showing homicide rates in rural America going up 25% in 2020. What do you make of that?
Right. That's why I say there may be some soft signs to this. It may not just be this idea that we're not going to prosecute felonies. We're not going to worry about the rule of law. There may also be this softer science of what's happened over the past couple of years and our lack of human contact and what that's done in terms of our ability to be social and to be civil.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle can't seem to agree on a bipartisan solution to curb crime. So if Washington is gridlocked, what are the next best steps forward here for states, cities, and towns dealing with this?
Right. It is shocking that Washington's gridlocked on this. They're gridlocked on just about everything. And so it's gotten to be very dysfunctional. And so I think what we do have to rely on are the local and state solutions and efforts. Part of it is just going to come down to good, solid policing. And we have plenty of studies that programs like the old Broken Windows program in New York, where you get on issues very quickly. You deal with problems on the lower level because that prevents an escalation in crime. We know that those things work. We also know that when we remove police from the communities, and frankly, the communities that are experiencing the most violence, they want policing in there, right? So it tends to sometimes just be, the hard left or the progressives who feel good and self-righteous about saying we have to defund the police or remove police from there. They're the ones who are doing it. The communities want the policing. They want what everyone wants, which is security. And frankly, providing security for its citizens, that's first and foremost responsibility for local and state, as it should be for federal. But I'm a big believer in the states and the local municipalities have to take this on.
Well, I know you're well versed in the area, studying crime and behavior and intervention tools. So Mike Baker, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Sure. Thank you.
Summer vacation starting with a travel nightmare for thousands of passengers. How airlines are struggling to stay on schedule and what the White House is threatening those airlines with to get them back on track. Next. Our National Desk team of reporters bringing you the headlines from coast to coast. We are taking the pulse of America, starting in Washington, where the fast actions of dozens of students may have stopped the next school tragedy.
Non-emergency. Hi, I'm a student at Juanita High School. I want to report a shooting threat.
55 times similar concerns flooded into 911 dispatch from students, parents, and teachers.
Non-emergency, how can I help you?
A fellow student just put something on his Instagram that me and my friend group are very concerned about. Kind of sounds like he's planning on shooting up the graduation ceremony or something like that.
All of them calling about the same disturbing rant. Police say 18-year-old Solomon Levin posted on Instagram threatening his school and classmates. It said in part, after the recent school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and you talking blank about me, that's a recipe for disaster.
This is the America we live in, and I was thinking there's no reason that it can't happen here.
Concerned mom Jennifer Daney called 911 too. She wants to see sensible reforms.
And make it safer, not just for our children, but for our children's children and beyond.
When he was arrested, investigators say Solomon stated he had a list of people he wanted to get rid of, saying he was bullied and had enough. He now faces felony harassment charges.
In Florida, retirees are returning to the workforce to help keep up with outrageous increases in rent. According to Realtor.com, rent in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale metro went up 57% year over year, the highest increase in the country. Ruby Gilbert retired in 2020, but is now looking for a job again after her own rent skyrocketed by $550 a month.
Palm Beach County is too rich of a county to sit back and allow, not all landlords are bad, I'm not saying that, but allow this housing market to just, as the young people say, go off the chain.
One Career Source employee says while unemployment is low, there is still a wide gap between what people make and what they can afford. To Ohio, a Cincinnati boutique furniture store is fighting the supply chain crisis by going local. The owners at the High Street Interior Design Studio say big-ticket items like couches used to take 6 to 8 weeks to deliver. They're now taking up to 18 months. The store is partnering with local craftsmen to speed things up, saying everything, including the supplies they use, is now locally sourced. Right now, major airlines are asking for help from the federal government as massive delays plague airports all across the country. American Airlines Pilots Union is calling on the FAA to limit the number of flights that airlines can schedule. They say they're being stretched too thin, leading to lapses in training and overtired pilots that could create safety issues. The FAA has strict rest requirements for pilots. As airlines struggle with worker shortages, many are worried delays are now the new normal and will be for the foreseeable future. The National Desk's Atra Elnishar with a closer look at the issue.
Paying more for a flight is no guarantee it will take off, at least not on time. Plane ticket prices up 37.8% from last year, while cancellations and delays keep piling up. On top of usual weather and maintenance disruptions, airlines around the world also struggling to stay fully staffed. That includes having enough pilots.
I think there was always going to be some teething problems in getting there. In some cases, the problems are a lot worse than we expect them to be.
In an open letter to customers, Delta Airlines pilots say they've, quote, been working on our days off, flying a record amount of overtime to help you get to your destination. At the current rate, by this fall, our pilots will have flown more overtime in 2022 than the entirety of 2018 and 2019 combined, calling on Delta management to do more to ensure the integrity of operations.
United Airlines has plans to hire 10,000 pilots by the end of the decade. But in the near term, the shortage is enough to cause concern within the Biden administration. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says that his department may impose penalties on airlines if they don't uphold consumer protection standards. But he tells the Associated Press he wants to see how travel during the 4th of July weekend goes first.
To get ahead of last-minute disruptions, many airlines reducing service. But that's not expected to come with lower fares.
We estimate that the price of a barrel of jet is at $125 a barrel.
Willie Walsh, Director General of the International Air Transport Association, tells CNN high fuel costs will be passed on to customers.
Good news, airlines are somewhat cushioned from that because they do have some hedging in place, which clearly will, soften the blow in 2022 and to some degree in 2023.
From high prices to high stress about flights taking off or not, issues plaguing airlines and their customers have no quick fix. At Reagan National Airport, I'm Atra Elnishar for the National Desk, America's News Now.
In the last 2 years, airlines have received $54 billion in taxpayer money to stay afloat. As they struggle with summer demand, some are asking how much authority the government has to step in. The fact-check team looks at how the Biden administration could help control the chaos.
As we see more and more flights get canceled over staffing shortages, Pete Buttigieg says he may take enforcement action against the airlines. I'm back tonight with our fact-check team. So, Courtney, do we know what exactly prompted the Transportation Secretary to issue this stern warning?
Well, after his own flight was canceled, Buttigieg told the Associated Press in an interview that the government may act against airlines on behalf of customers. Last week, he met with airline executives who said that they were focused on hiring to meet the high demand. They also said they're hiring more customer service employees to assist passengers with flight cancellations.
So on that note, Courtney, do we know when the government might take action, any sort of timeline here?
Well, not really. Buttigieg did say that the department will wait to see how airlines handle their flight schedules over 4th of July weekend and the rest of the summer before making any major decisions. He also encouraged the executives to stress test their capabilities to avoid a repeat of Memorial Day weekend.
In the aftermath of all this mess in the airline industry, Connor, a lot of questions being asked. Can the government actually regulate the airline industry?
They can, but not as much as some other countries, and that's because in 1978, Congress passed the Airline Deregulation Act, which gave airlines the right to set their own fares and plan their routes. But the Department of Transportation still has a lot of power. It's responsible for regulating the airline industry's business practices and has authority to hand out fines against carriers to protect consumers. For example, the department fined Air Canada $2 million last year over slow refunds, which is what Buttigieg would do if he feels the airlines haven't stepped up their hiring and consumer services by the end of summer.
Connor and Courtney tonight with this fact check. Thank you so much. And our fact check team will continue to follow developments on this and several other important issues. You can also read this story, links to where they found all of their information tonight on our website, thenationaldesk.com.
Good luck if you are traveling. A new unexpected challenge for first responders across America. Coming up, electric vehicle fires, how often they're happening, and why they are so much harder to put out. Plus, a nation divided after the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. Our Washington Bureau looking ahead at the conversation on Capitol Hill this coming week. That's next.
Welcome back to TND. Our Washington Bureau covers Capitol Hill in D.C. every day to report on the important issues facing the country and how they impact you. Two of our correspondents, Christine Frizzau and Atra Elnishar, they're here with us to share their insights and analysis. Christine, the Supreme Court wrapping up its term with some highly consequential cases. This week, significant decisions on guns and abortion. Tell us about those.
Yeah, let's start with the one that has really kind of shocked people and not, because there was a leaked decision already leaked on this several months ago. But this is, of course, the decision that has now overturned Roe versus Wade. Hard to overstate how significant this ruling is. Essentially, the majority says that Roe v. Wade should have never been decided in the way it was, nor should have Casey versus Planned Parenthood. This decision hands the right to obtain an abortion back to the states. And we do expect about half of the states in this country will either eliminate that right or eliminate it after a certain time period, 6 weeks, 15 weeks, or 0 weeks. You'd mentioned guns. That was another big ruling yesterday. This is a case that was looking at a New York state law that required its citizens to get a permit if they wanted to carry a gun outside of their home. The Supreme Court ruled that this actually violated the 14th Amendment to force law-abiding citizens to have to provide a reason to want to protect themselves. So that should affect not just New York, but 6 other states and or 5 other states in the District of Columbia with similar laws on the books. So a very big week here in Washington.
And before the court ends their term next week, they've got a few cases still left on the docket to rule on. What are those?
Yeah, so one of the ones that we're going to be watching that could also have significant impact is on the Remain in Mexico policy, also known as migrant protection protocols. Remember, this is something that was decided on. President Biden and his administration wanted to end that policy, and a federal judge ruled that he couldn't. And so the Supreme Court will now weigh in on who's right and who's wrong here.
And Atra, our weekly check-in on the economy. Gas prices still high. Fears of a recession keep growing. What's the latest?
Well, you know, we've got to mention, Steve, that now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, you can fully expect Democrats in Congress to start pointing out the financial dynamics of this. You know, abortion isn't just a healthcare issue. It is a financial choice as well. We started to hear those arguments in some Senate hearings earlier this summer. So expect that now to be part of the economic conversation. But you mentioned gas prices. The big conversation this week was what to do about the federal gas tax. 18 cents for gasoline for a gallon, about 24 cents for diesel. The president's now calling on Congress to do a 3-month suspension. But there's a lot of doubt even among Democrats about, A, would this be effective? And B, would it be worth this disruption to the Highway Trust Fund? Although the president says there's ways to do it without costing the Highway Trust Fund, the estimated $10 billion. But overall, the economic picture, Steve, is as we see the Fed's higher interest rates, quantitative tightening really start to take effect, right? Savings are going down, spending is slowing down. Is that that soft landing that the Fed is aiming for going to happen? Or could we wake up one day to see the market crash and we start to get into what people are saying are recession territory? Now, we won't see an official declaration of a recession or not until we see Q2 GDP earnings or growth, I should say. But that's where we are now, a lot of uncertainty.
A lot of uncertainty, especially as people are getting ready for their summer vacations and pulling back on spending. National correspondents Atra Elnishar and Christine Frizzau, thank you. Kale, back to you.
Steve, thank you. Electric vehicle fires, dangerous for drivers, even more so for first responders. The special training those firefighters need and why they aren't all getting it. That's next. First responders across the nation are facing a new challenge: fires in electric vehicles, also called EVs. They're not necessarily more common than standard car fires, but they do present new challenges to firefighters. Despite the risk, National Desk investigative correspondent Josie Sturman discovered crucial training to prepare first responders is not universal.
These first responders in Maryland are on the cutting edge when it comes to battling a growing nationwide challenge: fighting fires in electric vehicles, or EVs.
We may not be able to do normal operations that we're used to.
Training instructor Jason Leone knows EV fires demand an entirely different approach, from using significantly more water to keeping a cautious eye because of the threat of electric shock.
What are the risks if departments aren't trained?
Someone could die or seriously injured, and they may not even know what they're doing or getting themselves into until it's too late.
So it's key that they get this training.
Yes, absolutely.
But as more EVs hit the road, a Spotlight on America investigation discovered training isn't up to speed nationwide.
It's always a competing battle for their time and resources.
Andrew Klock runs a special program with the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, to get first responders ready. The organization estimates it's educated roughly 250,000 firefighters through in-person sessions and online classes so far. But the NFPA admits there's still another million that need the training. And several firefighting leaders we spoke with tell us they feel behind the curve because this issue isn't being prioritized the way it should be.
It's really up to the individual fire departments to say, this is an emerging technology that we need to get a handle on.
In the meantime, firefighters are forced to do something we all do when we're looking for answers: turn to the internet. That's where they'll find emergency response guides posted online by car manufacturers. They're designed to help firefighters identify where the battery is in each make and model and include strategies for fighting EV fires. But in a report in 2020, the NTSB found the instructions in most of those online guides lack necessary vehicle-specific details when it comes to fighting EV battery fires.
If the responders don't have, good information, we've already seen in some of the incidents where they're not being as effective as they could with the firefighting response. You could eventually have some tragedies occur. And so that's why it's really important that They know how to react.
Tom Barth is an investigator with the NTSB, which made several recommendations in its report, including calling on fire associations to spread the word about EV fire risks and ramp up training. And it urged manufacturers to provide more vehicle-specific information in its guides about how to best fight EV fires and minimize the threat of reignition.
The manufacturers have been working hard at this, and virtually every vehicle manufacturer out there has made guidance materials available. But with the new technology, there's always some level of discovery process.
Discoveries many firefighters are making about EV cars in the heat of the moment.
How long do you think it should take to get other people just like you trained anywhere else? How quick should this be included in training programs?
As soon as possible. I mean, the quicker we can get everybody across the country trained up, the better it is for everyone involved.
I'm Josie Sturman for Spotlight on America.
And that's all for us on this weekend edition of the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget, you can catch us every weekday morning from 6 to 11, and again every weekday evening from 10 to midnight Eastern. We're in your local listings. You can also watch us online anytime and catch up with the latest headlines on thenationaldesk.com. I'm Kel Thompson. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again on Monday morning.